Moving to the second biggest state in the USA. It can be heaven or it can be hell, depending on the region. Wanting a warm, sunny city, best entertainment for the young, area with plenty of career options, or perhaps an area full of Democrats. I'm a Texas native. I've been living here for 25 years, and today we're gonna break down all the things that you've got to know about every single region in this great state. Let's do this. Okay, so let's start with the first area. We're gonna break it down by region. So we're gonna start with Central Texas, places like Austin, San Antonio. First thing I wanna start off with these cities is the climate. Central Texas is relatively green. You're not gonna see a lot of desert. You're gonna see a lot of green grass, lots of trees here. However, that does come with its cons because if you do not like humidity, it's humid. Now, it's not the most humid place in Texas, but by gosh, you are gonna feel it. You're gonna be sweating it up in the summer and maybe the winter, depending on your preferences and activities. I don't know what you do. Texas as a state is very conservative. However, the major cities are not. Austin, being the foremost of these, is probably the most liberal city in the state. Every city is gonna be very liberally skewed, but the surrounding counties, further you get outside, more into rural areas, is gonna be more conservative. So something to consider if you don't wanna be in the major cities. Austin has been typically where the Texas music scene has been, a lot of the Texas food culture, a lot of arts and stuff. So it's kind of an all-encompassing city. You've got people like Joe Rogan that have moved to Austin recently. Elon Musk has moved, did he move Tesla to Austin? Now, Central Texas is not just Austin. There's another city that I'm looping into Central Texas, which is San Antonio. San Antonio is actually the largest Hispanic majority city in the US, with over 64% of its residents being Hispanic, which is awesome. It's great for our culture. We love diversity. There's a lot to do in San Antonio. You've got the Alamo, which is a really cool, probably the coolest historical factor that we have in Texas. And then you've got this thing called the Riverwalk, which is a big river that winds its way all the way through San Antonio. There's a bunch of shops and restaurants and stuff you go eat at. It's honestly a very cool spot to visit and hang out. So three major suburbs outside of Austin are Georgetown, Round Rock, and Cedar Park. I want to spend a lot of time on suburbs because if we look at a house that is in Austin city limits, 3-bedroom, 2-bath house that is 1,500 square feet, which is small for a 3-bed, 2-bath, and it's $600,000, which is really expensive for a 3-bedroom, 2-bath. But because it's in Austin city limits, gonna be more expensive. Look at this $405,000 house, 4-bedroom, that's in Georgetown. This goes to show you how much more affordable a city like Georgetown would be compared to a city like Austin living in the city limits. A general rule of thumb you can use is the closer you get to the city, the more expensive it's gonna be. Okay, so next we're going to North Texas. I am putting in North Texas the big old DFW. That's right, folks, Dallas-Fort Worth. This is my hometown, so I got a lot to say about it. I love Dallas. I live in Lubbock right now, but I'm planning on moving back to Dallas eventually. So like the last one, let's kick it off with the climate. The climate in North Texas is almost the same as it is in Central Texas. Hot and humid summers and cool to moderate winters. A lot of people get scared of tornadoes because Texas is in Tornado Alley. Central Texas actually is kind of stays out of that because North Texas is the brunt end of Tornado Alley. Not something to be scared about, and if you have the right preparations, I wouldn't be too worried about it. But if you're one of those folks who is terrified of tornadoes, we do sometimes get them. If you're thinking about moving to Texas, let me tell you the #1 mistake you can make. Finding a bad realtor and using them. Working with a bad agent can actually end up costing you like thousands, if not tens of thousands of dollars if they don't know what they're doing. Fortunately for me, I do know what I'm doing, and I know people who know what they're doing, and I can help find them. I work with a consistent network of realtors all over the state. If you're considering moving here, even if it's not where I live, I can find you someone good and reputable in that city. So if you're considering moving here, please give me a call. I will be your point of contact. I'll hold your hand the whole way through and we can get you a house. Doesn't matter what city it is in Texas. That's why I'm telling you about all of them. We can get you into any of them. Politics. Dallas and Fort Worth, you've got two counties. You've got Tarrant County, which is responsible for most of Fort Worth and some of Dallas. And then you've got Dallas County, which pretty much has all of Dallas in it. Tarrant County is actually pretty conservative in terms of voting. I think they voted red in the last election. Dallas County did not, they were blue. Like I said, again, if you're gonna live in the city limits, it's gonna be more liberally skewed, so that's something to think about. However, my favorite part about Dallas is the amount of suburbs that they have. Off the top of my dome, I can go Plano, Frisco, McKinney, Richardson, Garland, but I actually grew up in Richardson, which is just outside Dallas. Dallas is such an accessible city. You can hop on this highway called 75 from any of those towns pretty much and get anywhere in Dallas really easily. I would really recommend looking into the suburbs of Dallas. They are extremely affordable, especially the McKinneys and Friscos. The Richardsons and Planos, they are definitely a lot closer to Dallas. It's gonna be more expensive. One thing that Fort Worth has going for it better than Dallas is there's a lot more land right outside of Fort Worth. One of these big ones is South Lake Keller. There is so much stuff going on there. It seems like everybody and their mother is from there now. I grew up not ever meeting anyone from Fort Worth, but since I got to college, I met so many people from South Lake and Keller. Let's just be honest, a lot more people want to live in Dallas and close to Dallas, but they discount Fort Worth in that regard because there's not as much business there. Fort Worth is like Dallas's extremely country hick cousin. It's like the Western version of Dallas, which I think is super dope. There's actually a huge thing called the Fort Worth Stockyard where a bunch of cattle hang out. It's still a huge city. There's still a lot to do, but it's a lot more blue collar. I don't want to say redneck, but blue collar than Dallas is. Dallas, I would say, is probably the most white collar city in Texas. It's got a lot of business, but not a lot of that kind of Austin kind of what should I say? Dallas is much more of a corporate place and Austin's a very artistic place. Now we're going to South Texas. We are hitting the big old H-town, Houston. So Houston has 3 sports teams. They've got the Houston Rockets basketball team, the Astros, the baseball team, and the Texans, which is football team, and they suck at all 3 of them. So good for Houston. So there's a lot of suburbs. You got Conroe, the Woodlands. I've been in the Woodlands and people love the Woodlands. That's where most people in Houston suburbia want to live, is because it's, I think, the nicest. You have Sugarland, Pearland, Katy. Katy's a big one. A lot of people live in Katy. Great school systems throughout all these suburbs. In the 20th century, Houston exploded because there was a huge oil boom, which brought a lot of real estate. So many people moved to Houston, and these suburbs have gotten further and further and further to bring more people to the cities. And then they went around, got NASA. So NASA is also in Houston. One long step for man, one giant leap for mankind. That happened in Houston, not on the moon. Just kidding, it probably happened on the moon, but the guy said that in Houston. Climate in Houston, it is rainy, it is humid, it is everything. There are hurricanes that go through this town and decimate it. These tropical storms, they just get all jazzed up in the Gulf and they make their way to Houston and just do damage to the city. And that's because Houston's so close to the Gulf of Texas. South Texas, you're looking at Corpus Christi, Galveston, Laredo, all these places that are really close to the border. That's where the climate is gonna get drier, hotter. There's another place in Texas that is a lot like that. That's right, gosh dang it, it's West Texas where I'm living right now. Shoot dadgum, cowboy. So let's just start with the climate of West Texas. It is actually a lot different than the rest. It is not humid. It's actually very dry comparatively to the rest of Texas. In fact, from the summer of 2021 to the summer of 2022, we didn't get an inch of rainfall. However, it's not terrible here. What is terrible here is the wind and the dust that comes from it. Because this is more of kind of a deserty climate, there's a lot of wind that we get. It does pick up dust. We do have sandstorms. It is like a scene out of the movie Rango or any Western that you've ever seen. So let's talk about the politics of West Texas. That's also different than the rest of the state. The major cities in West Texas are not liberal. They're very conservative and they're showing no signs of stopping. In fact, Lubbock, where I live, actually in 2021 was the first city in Texas to ban abortion. So that's how conservative this place is. There are a lot of people who move here for that specific region. Really just everywhere in West Texas, you've got a lot of ranchers and a lot of farmers. Cattle business out here is a very big business. You've got people with thousands of heads of cattle and tons of acres. That's their livelihood. You know, they raise cattle, they sell beef. There are people that grow cotton. Cotton's a huge crop out here. It's the cash crop. There's also Texas Tech University here, which is the main source of industry. Also, we've got 2 massive hospitals. Another humongo plus about West Texas is that it's extremely affordable. 2 major cities in West Texas are gonna be Lubbock and Amarillo. Compared to the other cities in Texas, a $250,000 house in Lubbock would be $500,000 in Dallas. I kid you not, it would be double the price. It is so affordable to live here, it should almost be illegal. The more people that we're having move here is naturally driving the price up. That simple supply and demand, baby, you can't get away from it. The house prices the past 2 years have gone up 15 to 20%, and we're still in the 200s and 300s for the medium home price. But Lubbock is growing so vastly out. The suburbs here now are just creating themselves because of how many people are moving here and how outwards the city's moving. Let me tell you about Lubbock. Lubbock is a fantastic town. In fact, most videos on this channel are made about about Lubbock. It's the 11th largest and it is steadily climbing the ladder. Lubbock is not the most corporate, it's not the most artistic, but we are the friendliest city. We do have so many friendly people here. It's actually ranked as one of the most friendly places to live in the country. We've got that southern charm here, you know. There is a lot of diversity in Texas, and that's actually an area that we're seeing a lot of growth in as well, which is great. I'm obviously very biased to West Texas because I live in Lubbock and I really enjoy it. But if you're interested in moving here, give me a call and we will see you guys on the next one. Toodles.